course, we are on Cowboys Coaching Watch, nonstop, all the time, bringing you all the latest rumors and possibilities. And Ralph James Choppy has come up with his own type of list.
All right, are you excited or frightened? There's 25 names here that I've thought of that, and I'm probably missing some.
Were you out for Bobby's exercise where he put together like this program of what type of coach you want in 5 different categories, and it spit out the name?
We did that. I know we did it off air. I don't remember if we did it on air.
We did it at the party that night. We did it at the company party.
Yes.
I think maybe you were out the days after that.
I might have been. Yeah, I think I was. So I don't know, but I don't think we did that. I did on air, but what I want, and I've said that I want like I do want a Dan Campbell CEO type coach. Like I want a leader of men. I don't care if you're like this unique OC. If you are, great.
See, I'm really surprised by that from you. I thought that you rolled your eyes at the intangible stuff, the leadership stuff, the emotional stuff, and you just you wanted the X's and O's offensive genius dweeb.
No, what I want is hats on hats. That's what I want. I want a Jason Garrett type. Line up our 11 best against your 11 best. Because that's toxic masculinity right there, Sean. And, these people
That's why you hate McVay and Shanahan and Ben Johnson.
Yeah, all these people
the people whose brains give them the advantage.
Right, I don't want that, okay? Smartness, that's not a skill.
I mean, Garrett was Princeton.
Yeah, but he was a Neanderthal from Princeton.
No,
he wasn't.
He was not.
Yeah. Witten, for all of Witten's, flaws, and when I say flaws, I mean like he's not ready. He's a high school coach. That's a guy like I can get behind that. I can get behind that. Just a meathead. Just give me a big meathead.
Okay.
Somebody that you have to wonder.
But Pete Carroll, is he a meathead?
No, but he's got that kind of CEO type, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I just feel
you got me all twisted up in a pretzel here.
Yeah, I just feel like the I'm smarter than you guys. I don't know. I just don't. It doesn't sit right.
All right. Well, before we get to it, and I'm pretty sure you're going to start off with this dude. Kellen Moore yesterday was asked about the Cowboy rumors at his filthy presser.
I mean, obviously, I spent a lot of time there, 8 years there, and so obviously have plenty of relationships about that place, and so I love it here. I've had so much fun here. It's been a really fun process, and we're in a really special situation right now, getting the chance to play this Sunday, have a chance to make a run at this thing, and that's really all you worry about. Everything else is what it is, and we'll see where it takes you.
All right. It's a non-answer. It's a good answer. It's a Garrett answer, right? It's a very Jason Garrett-y type answer.
That's not a no. That sounds like he would be entertaining. My 2 recent translations from Coaching Possibilities, it sounded like Deion said, thanks, but no thanks. I want to be in Boulder. And it sounds like Kellen is like, hey, we'll see where it goes. It's a possibility.
All right. So, I totally agree with that assessment. So let's just start off here with Kellen Moore. Excited or frightened?
For the purposes of the exercise, I'm going to pick one of the 2 words.
Like, the real answer's probably neither.
Well,
I'm not frightened.
Not frightened. I'm hitting snooze. I'm like, I'm not getting any movement there. I'm not getting. Deion at least would give me that excitement for the content. Belichick would give me that excitement. For the purpose of the exercise, I'll lean towards fright. I'll lean towards fright because I don't see in Kellen Moore, or haven't heard the things about Kellen Moore that I think the Dallas Cowboys lacked under Mike McCarthy. Are they going to be sharper in terms of details, more intelligent? Maybe, possibly, because of this whole Kellen brain thing. Is Kellen Moore going to be able to crack down enough and stand in front of that room of 53 people? I haven't seen it. I haven't heard it. So I would lean more towards fright. Bobby can kick out all these offensive stats that he wants. And I know everyone can say, well, the perfect combo is to have Kellen's brain and the emotion from your coordinators. No, at some point in time, the leader of your organization, the leader of your company, we have to know that that person can bring it. We have to know that that is the leader, not, okay, he's the head coach, but that's really the leader. Yeah, you can get the different components from a collection on staff. I got to know that our leader can lead us into the battle when the S hits the fan. I'm not feeling it from Kellen, so I'll lean towards fright.
I would obviously in this exercise, excited or frightened, you can't do snooze, I think, or I'm neither. Like, I'm not scared of Kellen being the head coach. I think Kellen, he knows what he's doing. Like, he knows it from an offensive standpoint. I don't have a problem with him from an offensive standpoint. He would need to, for me.
I have a problem from an emotional / intangible. Kellen Moore, the book on him, I'm not going to let people forget. All right, I'm not going to let people forget that the Metroplex wanted to run him out of here. People were making all the jokes about the curl routes. I'm not going to let people forget he was in Los Angeles, and it was totally forgettable that people have forgotten his Charger tenure. And I'm not going to let people forget Kellen Moore, the book on him, he, in interviewing in other places, either made no impact, according to reports, or didn't get different offers. Like, we've talked about Kellen Moore interviewing before with nothing coming out of it. Kellen sounds like he hasn't sat down and landed the interview and knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, that is a problem. I mean, because if you're not a super emotional guy, I think sometimes you're charismatic. I think sometimes you fail in these interviews. He would have to surround himself with really good coaches,
or really good motivators.
He would have to do that. And I'm sure he would, but he would have to do that.
Or would Jerry and Steven surround him?
Oh, like they would pick? Well, you assume that the thought is that Witten would be on the staff. I don't know. I mean, is Witten going to leave his kids with 2 years left in high school?
I know. Someone told me that's not a factor. Someone told me that he would.
He would leave?
Yeah. Someone told me that would not be a hurdle, but we'll see.
Just get a bunch of meatheads on the staff. Just get Witten on there. Get Colombo. Get Marco Rivera on there.
Yeah.
Just throw them all on.
Proctor.
Let's go to the next one here. Dan Lanning. Excited or frightened?
Excite.
Totally. You don't really even know what he does. Like, what position does he coach? No. But, like, we saw that one clip of him.
Trashing
Deion. We'd love that. I would be excited with that. Pete Carroll.
Well, also what he's done there, and he does some Mike Vrabel-esque things in terms of loopholes.
Yeah. Yes.
Vrabel got turned into, I was guilty of this. I'm like, Vrabel might be a coaching genius because he out-Belichick Bill. No one does that. Finding a little trick of the rules. And Dan Lanning has done that at Oregon and had a very nice program. They were number 1 in the country.
Yeah, I think Lanning would be. I don't think he's going to do it. I don't think he's going to leave. He's going to stay at Oregon.
Or that Jerry would hire him.
Pete Carroll.
This is one of those ones I wouldn't say outright excite, but I'd be for it. But for the purposes of the exercise, I'll say excite. The biggest problem about Pete Carroll is having
75?
this old no, it said he's got a 75-year-old offensive mind. It's not that he's 75.
He's more like 40.
Yes, no problem, no question, no issue with the energy. I think of Pete Carroll's a winner. I do. Like with what happened in Seattle post Russ, the Seattle Seahawks, I don't think should have had as many wins as they had over the past couple of years. Now, this last one was with Pete Carroll's replacement, but you hear some nightmare, prehistoric offensive philosophy stories about Pete Carroll. If that's my mix and match, Pete Carroll's the CEO, and you make him take on, I don't know if you can, Pete's got enough skins on the wall, but I don't need this. Pete's got to take on an inventive offensive mind.
Right. Pete Carroll was so.
I'd rather have Pete with the exciting offensive mind than the exciting offensive mind with Kellen as the head coach. Give me Pete and the exciting OC.
I would be totally fine with Pete. I would be totally fine with him. So we remember him. He coached one.
And I think of him as a player's coach. There's a little bit of mystery for me about Pete Carroll. Does Pete Carroll crack skulls? Is he a disciplinary program? I'd have to go and look at Seattle's penalties, by the way. My mind is telling me that they were up there in penalties. But Pete seems like your rah-rah players type coach. I don't know how disciplined he is. You'd have to ask your Seattle guys.
Do you think that being a player's coach leads to more penalties?
Yes.
I wonder. Okay. I wonder if there's like a study done on that.
I mean, I'll listen to this clip I've been saving from Nick Eatman, DallasCowboys.com. Now, this is one of those things for you not understanding if Bobby spills the McCarthy tomorrow. You're just not getting it. We all have stories of people while they're here that you can't say to protect relationships, access. We got a weekly coaches show as well. Those that get it, get it. Those that don't, you're just a bunch of numbnuts out there. But this is an example. Nick Eatman wasn't going to say this and couldn't say this for own job self-preservation in the building while Mike was here. This was Eatman on DallasCowboys.com.
But everyone loved the sub, right? When the sub came in, you're like...
The substitute team?
Yeah, everyone loved the substitute. Yeah. You're like, okay, why? Because he's easy. Because he or she is not going to be the same. It's going to be easy, and that's all good. Paper airplanes flying across and all that stuff. Well, yeah, everyone loves Mike. Well, of course.
Turns on a movie.
You ever been on there? You ever been over on Friday? I mean, like... They don't practice like other teams. I'm sorry, I'll just say it. They don't practice like other teams do. No. Other teams practice on Fridays. They don't. He takes them off their feet, off their leg, and he's taking care of them, which is great. Mm-hmm. Certainly didn't help from the injury front, but still. But my point is that the players love him, because he does a good job of taking care of them. But sometimes, they didn't like Jimmy Johnson early on.
Yeah.
The Giants, they didn't like Parcells because he was an ass to them. Was he a good coach? Yes. So there's got to be that balance. And I'm saying, while everyone loves having McCarthy here, the players, at least that's what they said, it's okay not to like your head coach because he's doing his job to get you ready to play. And so that's where I think it's okay for them to say, well, maybe the next coach doesn't have to be the most well-liked person in the world.
I love that. I think it's very telling.
I wonder how many teams practice on Fridays and what they do on Fridays.
Well, Nick just said that others do.
I know, but is Nick around? Is he another, you know what I mean? I don't know. Nobody knows.
Look,
what
there
other
were
teams
plenty
do.
of people. There were plenty of people for the last couple of years who talked to us about how hard they don't work. I got that from multiple people. That they don't work as hard as other organizations, other teams. I had heard that.
In terms of the practice?
Practicing.
Yeah, they don't practice as hard. Yeah, I mean,
that's just what I don't know what's happening in other facilities. I just have to take other people's word for it.
I don't know. One thing about Pete Carroll, we think of him just as being successful at Seattle and USC.
Yeah.
In 3 years at New England, how many losing seasons did he have?
I would guess 2 or 3.
None.
I totally forgot about his Patriot run.
10-6, 9-7, 8-8.
By the way, real quick,
and he was fired for Bill.
By the way, I'm just doing a quick research study of penalties over the past 5-6 years. Seattle, I'm not seeing Seattle in the top 10. I'm seeing a 12. 1 year here in 2019, I'm saying 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They were 9th, but I'm not seeing them ever top 3, top 5 in terms of number of penalties. That they got flagged for.
And you really need to break it down because I don't consider roughing the passer or pass interference or holding as discipline.
I consider, roughing a passer if you're 5 seconds late. That's a stupid.
That's
penalty.
stupid. I don't put that on the coach. You know what I mean? That.
I do.
To me, because Parcells would he would say penalties are on the players. Now,
Cowboys Seahawks game, by the way, in 2023, there was 257 yards in penalties.
In what year?
2023. It was Cowboys Seahawks. Dallas came back 41-35. The game had 25 called penalties, 19 accepted between the two.
Oh.
It tied for the third most flags in a game. 257 yards in penalties, most in an NFL game that year.
Woo! It's a lot. Deion Sanders, excited or frightened?
Excited.
Oh, baby.
Excited.
For a football standpoint or for Mondays or maybe Fridays, depending on what day he would come on with us?
The biggest content, we'd float into retirement.
Yeah.
Deion Sanders would allow us to retire early with the amount of ratings.
Yeah, that's very true.
The world would explode.
Yeah, it would.
It really would. He might outdo Belichick. He would probably outdo Belichick if Belichick was the head coach here.
He would.
From a football standpoint, my big question about Deion is how would Deion get along with the players? Would Deion have zero pay? Nick Saban and Deion Sanders can be themselves in college. Now, you can't be yourself as much because these kids can pick up, transfer, and roll out, but much easier to be like that with young kids than grown men. That's my big question. Nick Saban, some people are throwing out Saban. I'm like, Nick Saban, he couldn't get along with NFL players 15 years ago. I don't think old, grumpy, surly Saban is getting along with players better now. How would Deion?
Plus, there's not enough Bama players on this team that would know how to handle him.
Like, I would love Deion. I'm intrigued by Deion's CEO and then your brilliant X's and O's coordinators next to him.
Yeah. All right, so my issue...
But the answer for me is excited.
Yeah, so obviously, like...
And from a football standpoint, intrigued.
It's intrigued from a football standpoint. Like, excited for the whole thing.
Yeah.
We would have to... He would cancel, like, he would not answer questions from Bobby after about 4 games. Because, that's the one thing he did there this year at Boulder. I mean, he basically, like, banned people, started banning reporters. Like, you can't do that in the NFL.
Yeah.
Like, you could try, but I don't know. In the NFL, I don't know if you're going to get away with it.
Think he's too sensitive?
Might be. He might also be able to make it work at the NFL level because of that.
And, of course, his son, Shador, was at the Maverick game last night, sitting in the Joneses seats.
Yes.
He was asked, what do you think of your dad coaching the Cowboys? He said, I think it would be exciting.
There you go. Excited or frightened? John Gruden.
Excited from a content standpoint, frightened from a football standpoint.
I want him away from anything that has to do with personnel.
I think John Gruden is a football spaz. I love him on Barstool. The interviews would be absolute gold. I don't know if I trust John Gruden running my whole football program.
Shredded, baby. Like, when he was at the Raiders, I mean, they did a good job getting that roster. Like, he did a really nice job. But remember, he won with Tony Dungy's players at Tampa. That's what he won. He took him over the hump. That's what he won the Super Bowl.
I just don't trust his personnel judgment
I don't
at
either.
all.
I mean, he couldn't spot it. Like I said this yesterday. He couldn't spot a quarterback if you put Tom Brady in the room.
The problem is he spots too many. He's a quarterback.
Oh, yeah, I love this guy. I love that guy. I love this guy.
He's a QB hoe.
Yeah, he really is.
His time in Vegas, what do you think the record was? In 53 games.
Is that counting the last couple, or is it the early part? Well, I mean, they were really good at the when he left there the first time. I would guess he had.
No, I'm talking about this last run.
Oh, this last run.
Yeah, the last run.
Oh, terrible. I would say he probably had 20 wins in 53 games.
22-31, so close. 4-12, 7-9, and 8-8. I never really felt like they were getting ready to turn a corner.
No, I didn't either.
But you just said you thought he did a nice job there.
Well, I was talking about the first time with the Raiders.
Oh, the first time.
The first time, yeah, he built a nice roster there.
Oh, hell yeah. I love that that Rich Gannon offense, they were fun to watch.
Yeah,
Bill Callahan.
He built a good team there. Okay, so
what about you? I'm frightened for
Gruden. I'm frightened. I mean, I'm excited about the interview with him every day. I am frightened for him as a head coach with this team. Lane Kiffin.
Frightened. I don't know if I trust Lane Kiffin as a CEO. I don't trust his personality. He's sensitive. He's doing the Sidney Sweeney
Thomas.
Sidney Thomas responses. I don't know. I don't know if I trust. I mean, he'd be amazing content as well. From a football standpoint, you could probably speak to this more than me. Do you consider him like still this X's and O's great offensive mind?
Yeah, I think he's kind of like a quarterback whisperer of sorts. I think.
Like, talk to me about Lane as a coach.
Honestly, Lane got a lot. So when he was at Tennessee, the 1 year he was there, he had a quarterback named Jonathan Crumpton, and this kid had tools, but he was terrible. And the 1 year he was there, he got him drafted in the 5th round. Like, this guy was not getting drafted by any stretch. He was there 1 year, and they put up decent numbers.
Would you take Lane or Sark?
Lane.
Oh, no hesitation.
Yeah. Well, I think they both have their flaws. I just think Sark sometimes gets in his own way. I think if you gave Lane Sark's talent, I think he would do more with Sark's talent.
How do you think Lane would get along with NFL players? And he was the wild card dark horse on Nick Harris's list yesterday, Fort Worth Star-Telegram.
I think Lane would be all right. I think he'd be all right. He's not like he's not an overlord like a Saban is. I think he'd be okay.
He's like too arrogant.
He's definitely arrogant. But you don't even do. He would give you he would give the players
freedom,
moxie, freedom to be themselves. I think he's got he's Rex Ryan without the feet. From that standpoint,
okay.
Bill O'Brien.
You answer this first.
I think Bill O'Brien is a really solid football coach. I want him, same thing with Gruden, nowhere near any decisions when it comes to players.
Yeah.
But, this dude dragged some lifeless Texans teams to the playoffs.
I think he's a good coach. I'm going to lean towards Frighten just because of his personality in dealing with this show.
I agree. I think
he's a good coach.
I do, too. I think he's in a good spot at BC. At Boston College. I think he's going to do well there. As well as you can do there. Next one, excited or frightened? Lincoln Riley.
Frightened.
Absolutely. He could coach one thing, and that's a quarterback, and that's it.
Yeah.
Lincoln Riley.
He's been a disappointment at USC.
Yeah. I
don't know if he can handle the heat as the CEO, and his defenses suck.
Mm-hmm.
I'm frightened.
Yep. Jason Witten.
Excited.
Yeah, me too.
I love that we're aligning here. NFL's your favorite sport now. Leadership, intangibles, the gut, the grit. I think, I'll say it again, I wish Troy Aikman would have been an assistant GM or in an executive role for the past 3 to 5 years, and I wish that Jason Witten would have been an assistant coach somewhere the past 3 to 5 years so that we could just elevate both of them right now. I'm scared. I'm a believer in experience. I want Jason Witten in the organization yesterday. I want him as the tight ends coach. I want him as some type of assistant quickly. I would be excited. I'd be frightened as the head coach.
I'd be frightened
I want Witten on a staff quickly.
It'd be exfrightment. I'd be excited.
I love it.
I'd be excited about hey, look, it's something new. It's something different. I'd be frightened because of him as a head coach. It's a little bit of both there. Marcus Freeman.
I don't know enough about Marcus Freeman, but right now I lean towards excitement.
Yeah, I'd be stoked. Totally.
What do you know about him?
I think he is. The players love him. When he got that job, there's a video out there.
What is his football expertise? Does he have one? A specialty?
I don't know.
All right.
When he got that job, so when Brian Kelly left, they had this other assistant coach, this older guy.
Which that quote is now haunting Brian Kelly when he goes, I want to go to LSU. I want to go somewhere to compete for championships. What a jackass.
This assistant comes out there and was like, hey, we're all going to sit together, but I want to introduce you to your new coach. And it was Marcus. And Marcus burst through the door. And, he's got moxie, right? And he comes out.
That's a CEO.
The players are loving it. They are jumping for joy. And, he's he's a great dude. I think he's a really good coach. He's shown that he can win. He got, he had the 10 men on the field thing with Ohio State. He owned it. He had a great answer. He owned it.
And he had that awesome special teams play that they ran.
Phenomenal. I love him.
I have to find out what a specialty is. Go ahead.
Aaron Glenn.
Got to do more homework. I've done some. I'm going to lean towards excited. Brian Broaddus really advocated for him the other day, has been advocating for him. I love Lions fan Jeff, who hit us up and said, this is the guy. It's not Ben Johnson.
Yep.
It's Aaron Glenn. And I pulled this clip of Aaron Glenn sitting down with the pivot talking about his coaching philosophy.
Today's coaching, man, you have to be relatable. All right? The players have to be able to sit down and talk to you and have a conversation. Man, there are so many players I'll talk to this day. Say, man, I've never had a chance to just sit and talk with a coach. I've never had a chance to have interaction and confrontation with a coach. It's almost like I got to shut up. And I said, no, man, tell me exactly what your issues are, right? And we could talk about it. Man, me and Tracy Walker, Tracy came to my house, right, before training camp. Me and Tracy was sitting there just knocking tape out. And one day he was just quiet. And I was like, what's wrong? He said, Coach, I've never, ever had a chance to go to a coach's house. Your wife over there cooking dinner, your daughter is running around, all right, and I'm sitting here watching tape, man, I just, like, that just don't happen. And I was shocked, like, why?
Right.
Why can't it happen? Because you know what? As a player, man, I would love to sit down with my coach and sit there and pick his brain and watch. And so, man, that's what I want to offer to all my players, right? Dude, this is coaches over here and players over. That's not what we are, man. We right here, right? Because my job is to help you get better. That's my only job, right? My job is to create a winning environment for you, get you paid, right? Because everybody wins, right? The organization wins and you win if all those things happen. So, yeah, I'm going to sit here and spend as much time as I can with you because that's my pleasure anyway.
Love the clip.
Sit here and watch tape with you and get you better.
My bad. Love the clip. I would lean towards excited with Aaron Glenn. I'd have to do
I would
more
too.
work.
I think he's forget the defensive coordinator aspect of it. I think this is a guy that could lead men.